Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested and extradited to the International Criminal Court (ICC) in The Hague, where he faces charges of crimes against humanity for his administration's brutal war on drugs. His detention marks a historic moment in global justice as Duterte becomes one of the few former heads of state to be apprehended for alleged mass atrocities.
Show to me now the legal basis for my being here. As apparently I was brought here not of my own volition.
Duterte's apprehension was executed with notable swiftness and precision. The former president, who had been in Hong Kong rallying support for candidates aligned with his political faction ahead of upcoming elections, arrived at Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport expecting a routine landing. Instead, authorities were waiting. As his plane touched down, law enforcement officers swiftly boarded the aircraft and informed Duterte that he was being taken into custody under an ICC arrest warrant issued days earlier. Witnesses described the scene as tense yet highly organized. Despite his age and frail health, he suffers from diabetes and was seen walking with a cane. Duterte did not physically resist arrest. He was escorted off the plane and immediately transported to a secure military facility within the airport perimeter. Within hours, a government-chartered aircraft was on the tarmac, ready to fly him to The Hague. The secrecy and the efficiency of the operation suggested that the current administration had been working behind the scenes to ensure that Duterte did not evade arrest, particularly given the ongoing political rivalry between his faction and the government of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
There is a very clear document that will explain that will explain the basis on how we conducted this arrest of former President Duterte.
Duterte's arrest has sent shockwaves through the Philippines' political landscape. His daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, condemned the action as oppression and persecution, arguing that it violated national sovereignty since the Philippines withdrew from the ICC in 2019. She described the move as politically motivated and an affront to the will of the Filipino people.
Usapin yung mga abogado doon kung saan man siya dalhin. Pupunta kami, ako, at pupunta yung mga abogado and
Duterte's legal team also challenged the arrest, insisting that the ICC has no jurisdiction over the Philippines. His supporters swiftly mobilized protests, arguing that the extradition was orchestrated by political rivals. On the other hand, human rights organizations and families of drug war victims hailed the arrest as a long overdue step toward justice. For years, we have waited for accountability, said one activist. This is victory for all who suffered under Duterte's brutal war on drugs.
We are calling for justice, not only for the victims, the 300,000 victims of extrajudicial killing, but for the Filipino people as well. We want him to be jailed.
Duterte, who served as president from 2016 to 2022, campaigned on a hardline anti-drug platform, vowing to eradicate illegal substances by any means necessary. His administration launched a brutal campaign in which thousands of suspected drug users and dealers were killed in extrajudicial operations. Security forces conducted widespread raids, disproportionately targeting impoverished communities. Officially, authorities claimed those killed had resisted arrest, but human rights groups and investigative reports presented a different reality.
That I am committed to stop drugs before I go out.
The scale of the violence was staggering. While government sources estimated around 6,000 deaths, independent human rights organizations placed the number closer to 30,000. The majority of victims were young men from low-income areas, while powerful drug lords and major traffickers largely remain untouched. Critics argued that the campaign disproportionately targeted the poor while ignoring corruption within law enforcement, where some officers were complicit in the drug trade. Beyond official police operations, there were numerous reports of hired assassins working under state protection. These contract killers, including former criminals and even civilians, coerced into the role, were allegedly used to eliminate targets on secret government orders. Duterte's extradition to The Hague set a precedent in international law, reinforcing the ICC's mandate to hold leaders accountable for alleged crimes against humanity. The court's investigation into Duterte's drug war began in 2018, persisting despite the Philippines' withdrawal from the ICC in 2019. The ICC maintains that it still has jurisdiction over crimes committed while the country was a member. The ICC's authority to prosecute Duterte is grounded in the Rome Statute of 1998, the treaty that established the court. Specifically, Article 5 grants the ICC jurisdiction over crimes against humanity, including widespread or systematic attacks against civilians. Article 7, Section 1 defines crime against humanity as acts such as murder, extermination, enforced disappearance, and other inhumane acts. The upcoming trial is expected to be extensive, with prosecutors presenting evidence from survivors, families of victims, and former law enforcement officers who participated in the drug war. If convicted, Duterte could face life imprisonment. However, his defense team is anticipated to challenge the ICC's authority at every turn. For now, he sits in detention awaiting judgment, a dramatic fall for a man who once ruled with an iron fist and vowed that no court would ever hold him accountable. Ephraim Agbo, reporting for Pop TV.
People of the Fountain.